behind this is to just kind of inspire others, motivate them, just build a happy, positive podcast. And and I think both of us are very positive, happy people. So I couldn't think of a better co-host to ask. So yeah, here's Tyler.
It's gonna be a blast, man. I'm excited for it. I think we both have great personalities. We both come from different backgrounds, but we're both pretty relatable people, and I'm just excited to see what happens this season with it. It's gonna be awesome. Got a lot of great guests lined up in the works, and definitely more to come. Like it's gonna be legit. So stay tuned because got some big things coming.
Yeah, some very big things, and have the post on Facebook and giving a very small gist of what's coming. I don't think people realize really what's coming because there's big names, and I mean some big name wrestlers, some fighters. It is going to be epic, and I think this will definitely get big. And I'm very excited to start it and enjoy our first podcast.
Yeah, I don't know if the people are really ready for everybody that we've got in store here. I mean, going through the list, it's pretty stacked.
Yeah, and I mean it's people from all over in all sports, coaches, athletes. So I'm very excited to kind of talk to the different personalities in the athletic and just tough world because each person has had their own personal struggles and their own overcoming adversity. And I just want to hear the backstories and background from where these people come from and how they succeeded. And I'm just so excited for it.
It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be a blast. That's one of the things that's always intrigued me the most is just really digging into people's backgrounds and the psychology of what makes them tick. And so it's gonna be fun to get to kind of peek behind the curtain, so to speak, on what drives people and motivates them to achieve these great things that they've done.
Absolutely, and somebody that has kind of helped me and inspired me is somebody that I haven't met yet. It's a man named David Goggins. I don't know if yeah, right? He's
Yep.
right. So his book, I think it's called Can't Hurt Me.
Yep.
Probably the best book I could have ever read, and I mean, I would love to have him out, but it's a long shot. But man, he his book and his videos on social media is just fantastic. And I mean, this man literally ran 100 miles, and he didn't train for it. He just ran 100 miles,
Which is crazy because
which
I remember.
is insane. And I think he's the toughest guy that there is.
Easily.
I mean, he has lost 100 pounds twice. He did it again.
Yep, that's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. He is such a inspiration, and I would love to meet that guy someday. And I mean, he is real, he is raw, and he doesn't care.
No, he does not.
I love that about him.
Yeah, he's definitely up there, top 5 wish list easily. Easily.
And, just him being a Navy SEAL and having that mindset of just striving to be better, and he's a awesome dude. I just love him.
Yeah, that book was good. That was real good. I read that. When did that come out? A couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, and
Because Tony, my brother, actually told me about it. He was like, "Hey, buy this book," and I literally finished it in 5 or 6 days.
yep.
Damn.
Once you start reading it, you're hooked. Yeah, I would definitely want to get him on. That'd be dope. I think another one, just Anthony Robles when that watching his wrestling career and then actually getting to read that book Unstoppable about everything on there.
Great book.
So good. Love that
Fun
book.
factory, Tyler, is that he actually spoke at Borough, my college. So he actually came in the spring semester and spoke at Edinburgh, right? So
That's dope.
I had the book and he signed it.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. So I have his name and a little quote in the book because that was also a great book. And I don't think people realize how tough the sport of wrestling is, but to win a national title at the D1 level
Yeah.
I don't know how a story can top that. And yeah, that guy is very inspiring. And man, his strength, like his tilts.
Yeah,
his
I
strength,
mean, you know that he's got his upper body strength just to carry himself around,
yeah,
across the mat and be able to turn people the way that he was able to turn them and score.
yeah.
Just unbelievable.
I mean, in his national finals, he basically dominated a tough Matt McDonough,
Yup.
who was
Just
almost unbeatable at the time.
just destroyed him basically.
Yeah, just very nasty kill. I think it was a ball and chain kill, if I remember.
Yep, he did the roll through ball and chain because
Yeah,
I remember studying like how he was doing it, and then I took Eric off to the mat. Eric's my brother, also wrestled at Burrow with Sammy here, and we went out and we just drilled it like over and over and over again. It was insane. I'd
yeah.
never seen somebody just demolish another person with that move before, and he did
Yeah,
it.
right. Like people know that it's coming, and he's just so strong.
You just can't stop it.
Yeah, man,
it was
I
crazy.
love watching Anthony Robles wrestle, and yeah, he's an awesome inspiration for sure.
Definitely, definitely. But yeah, I think those those being high on the list, those are very inspirational people, and the people that we're going to talk to these next shows coming up definitely fit into that category. They've got the mindset, they've got the work ethic, and they put in the time, and it's paid off for them. So I'm pretty stoked to see what happens with it.
Each guest that is coming on definitely has their own personal and unique backstory of how they've come to be and like how they found their calling. And
Hmm.
I'm just so excited to talk to a different person each week and just kind of pick their mind of how they view success and how they made it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Same
So
here.
I
I mean,
guess now I would like to go into like a background of the both of us. So I mean, who wants to start first? Here you.
I'll let you go first.
All right. So my full name is Samuel Scott Racco II. My father's name, same thing, Samuel Scott Racco. So I was born in 1994, September 12th. I am from a very small farm town called Lindenville in Western New York, and I only graduated like with 40 kids or so, like very tiny. So as a kid, growing up, I had it very hard. Like just always working, like always baling hay, always cutting wood, baseball practice, wrestling camps, just always moving. And my dad had a very tough household, and I mean very tough. But I'm telling you what, it has made me the man I am today. And I kind of have the work ethic I have because of him, and I'm very happy that I was raised by Big Sam, as most people call him. And I mean, it was tough growing up, but I'm a four-time New York State qualifier. So my freshman year, I went 2-2 in states in wrestling. Sorry, and so I went 2-2 match weight placing, right? So my sophomore year at States, I wrestled this kid named John Beagle, who I think is in the Air Force, right? And
I think that's right.
I am a match away, once again, from placing States. I am winning by 3, and he cradles me in the 3 count, and then he cradles me again, and he beats me. So I was literally devastated, and man, my dad was mad at me. But so
Of
I
course.
come back my junior year at States, and I placed 6th in a very tough bracket full of I think 3 state champs with Eric Robinson, who attended Buffalo, Colin Delbert, and a kid from Lackawanna. I think Abdul Gawi Muhammad, was his name, but man, he was tough. So 3 champs and multiple state qualifiers and placers, so I placed 6th, right? And I think this was kind of the turning point that made me the better man and wrestler, like going into my senior year. It's like that summer in between my junior and senior year, man, I just wanted to kind of turn the corner and like be a better athlete and a better person. So I worked hard that summer, and I finally told my mind, listen, I am not settling for nothing besides the state championship. And I won states my senior year at 120 pounds. So, and fun fact for you, again, I actually
Yeah, I've definitely heard about that one.
Yeah, so my senior year, after placing sixth in state, I was unseated, and I mean my coach and dad were pissed. Oh my God, he's a state placer. How is he unseated? Well,
Yeah.
literally my bracket was so stacked, right? So I am on the bottom half, unseated. My first match, a Virginia State champ, I beat him, and then I just went on a run, and I faced this state finalist who I wrestled in the quarters, and I beat him 1-0, just going funk and just being scrappy.
Yeah.
Then I beat the kid named Matt Lessinger, who won 126 the next
Nice.
year at Largeville State. So I beat him in the semis 8-5 off 2 slide bites, right?
Nice.
So I made the finals unseated. I was flying high, and my record my senior year of high school was 45-1, right? The one kid that beat me was from Pennsylvania, a kid named Evan Bodwin from Wyoming Seminary. Beat me
Oh,
in the
yeah.
finals.
Wyoming Sim, man, they're tough.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
tough.
very tough. So yeah, he killed me like 9-0. And you know, looking back on all my matches, if I could take one match back, it's that one, because I think I took it a little easy and like I was flying high, like just a bit too cocky. And
Yeah.
he killed me a few times, but yeah, he beat me in the Eastern States finals. So I wrestled that kid I beat in the state finals in the state qualifier finals, right? And I
Yep.
beat him 3-0 there. I got out and then scored on a flash slide by my go-to move. But after I beat him, there was a fight in the stands with our families, and I needed, an absolute brawl, hair pulling. His mother came down and was trying to fight my cousin Kelsey. So yeah, I as soon as I got my hand raised, I see that and I'm jogging over, and
Yeah.
literally the coach from a school named Warsaw stopped me and said, "Listen, if you want to go win a state championship, just stay back and don't even
Yeah.
engage." And I did. But I mean, our families are cool now, and yeah, I mean it's wild.
Hey, wrestling families, man, they're different. They're different.
Yeah, it was a wild time. It was still a wild story to talk about. But yeah, I wrestled him again in the state finals and beat him 2-0. But this time I didn't get away. I didn't score a takedown. I won off a tight waist tilt. That was how I won the
Nice.
state title.
Nice.
Just a tight waist, wrist, and just drive forward pinch.
Yeah.
And I got a 4 count, I think. Yeah. So that was how I won my state title. I also played baseball. I was an awesome catcher. I played baseball for like a decade, and then my senior year I chose to run track. I did the 100-meter hurdles. I did the 800-meter race, which still to this day, the hardest thing I've ever done is the 800-meter race. And like that's just 2 laps.
Yeah.
Tyler.
Oh, trust me, I know.
I was literally exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the hardest thing still is that 800-meter race, because I took it lightly. Because you know me winning states, thinking, hey man, track it's easy, and I was wrong.
You're like, oh yeah, I run all the time, cutting weight and just being in shape and stuff. No, it's different. It's a lot different.
So I got an athletic scholarship to attend Edinburgh in northwestern Pennsylvania under Coach Tim Flynn and Cliff Moore, who was a national champion at Iowa in like 2004 or 5 maybe. Don't quote me on that, but yeah.
I think that's right.
Coach Flynn, awesome coach. He placed 7th at Penn State, I think in 1987, if my stats are right. But he is now the head coach of West Virginia. Awesome guy. Coach Moore, awesome guy. And my first 2 years, the other assistant was Colt Sponseller. The
Great wrestler.
Ohio State, yeah. Who had a lot of battles with Ryan Morningstar back in the day.
Yep.
Just always back and forth, I like to feel. But I loved Cole. I think he's coaching at Ohio now. But yeah, so then my last few years at Edinburgh, Mitchell Port became the assistant coach, somebody that always beat the shit out of me in practice. Man, listen, and I don't make excuses, Tyler, and the listeners, but I'm telling you what, in the practice room with AJ Shop at 133, Mitchell Port at 41, and Dave Abbott at 49.
Meat grinder.
Like he being right in the middle of that,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. And I went through some very depressed times just because like I went into college with such high expectations.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna win, and it doesn't ever end up that way. And I was being beat, and I was AJ Shop's partner, practice partner for like 2 or 3 years, and he is now the assistant coach at Purdue.
Yep.
And Port is the assistant coach at West Virginia, and Dave Hadd is wrestling for Slovenia. So I mean, three absolute studs.
Just hammers everywhere you turn.
I mean, college, it was a tough time for me at Edinburgh, but I prevailed. I majored in exercise science and a minor in athletic coaching, and obviously that has paid off. So I graduated with a exercise science degree, and then after I graduated in 2017, like I was kind of in that like post college stage of not really knowing what I wanted, and I was obviously lost in life, Tyler, and I couldn't find a job because I literally have probably applied to 300 colleges, and each one said the same thing to me, Tyler, that I need coaching.
You need experience.
To be a coach.
Yep.
Which honestly makes no sense because how do I start somewhere?
Exactly.
Oh, I'm very lucky that Lincoln has given me that chance, and I'll talk about that a bit later. But so that post-college graduation stage, it was tough for me, and I was a car detailer. I was a personal trainer at this gym in Erie, Pennsylvania called Erie Fitness Academy, and man, those guys are great. Daniel Myers, Gio, it was an awesome place to work, and I trained a lot of wrestlers there, mainly female wrestlers actually, and a girl named Jo who is ranked top 10 in the nation now. She's
that sounds like the name of a country song. It sounds like a ripoff of Johnny Cash. Like boy named Sue, girl named Joe.
Yeah, and I was actually at the preseason nationals in Iowa this past fall, and I saw her there and watched her wrestle. She was actually wrestling a age group above and was
just destroying them.
She's so good. So yeah, I taught her my slide by, and she hits it every match. She ties up, bang, slide by.
There's so many ways you can freaking hit that move too. I don't feel like it's as utilized now as it was like in years past, but I don't know why. Because I was hitting it a lot when I was in school doing it.
And honestly, it is the easiest takedown to hit. If it's done correctly, like Steve or hit on Jordan Oliver.
Yep.
Remember,
just going.
So good at it, and so was Port, really. But,
yep.
Yeah, I was a car detailer, a personal trainer. I worked some weed jobs, some mowing jobs, all that good stuff. So in 2018, I got a job at this company in Erie called Logistics Plus. So it's like a shipping company, right? So I was basically the on-site fitness trainer, just to make the whole office healthier.
Yeah.
And I loved that job because those people, that boss, Jim Berlin, was the coolest guy I have ever met. He treated his people great. So I literally had my own office, my own gym, my own bathroom, my own kitchen, Tyler.
Dang, dude.
It was a lot.
That's legit.
So I worked there for about a year and a half, January of 2018 to like the summer of 2019. So about 18 months or so. But yeah, it was awesome. So I was the on-site fitness trainer from like 6 a.m. to about 2 p.m. because I coached at General McLean High School in Edinburgh, PA, the high school wrestling team under Coach Ryan Cook, who's our first guest on Friday.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert. So I was so busy, just 6 to 2, and then 3 to 5, 5:30, just on the go and staying very active.
Yeah.
And I loved it. So I coached at General McLean for 3 years, and I mean, we had multiple state places and state qualifiers. Ethan Laird, who is now the starting 197-pounder for Ryder.
Yeah.
He placed second for us my first year. He actually lost to a kid named Jake Woodley, I think his name, and he's now attending Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Who Ethan Laird avenged his state finals loss and majored him in nationals, which I love to see.
That's crazy.
It was awesome. So Jackson Spires is also a state placer who placed 7th this past year. He's an awesome kid, a great person overall, and man, his throws are awesome, man. He's a great thrower, a great kid. His hips are fantastic. So yeah, after I left General McLean, I was offered a job last summer to become the assistant coach at this NAIA school called Lincoln College here in central Illinois. And I am very thankful that Jordan Bakley, the head coach of Lincoln, gave me this opportunity to finally do what I was born to do. And I mean, I love personally training people, but like I'm still doing that now, basically, in a different aspect.
Different way.
Yeah, like not only strength training, but wrestling, being a good person on and off the mat, because that is what matters most, man. I just try to preach to my kids, just be tough on the mat, but as soon as you step off, man, be a good person. Get solid grades, be a good person, do all the right things, and life is easy. And you know, I have struggled off the mat, like with mental health, and like me having my stutter and like just having fear to talk to people. And like, I'm just so thankful to be where I am today, just striving to be better and just have goals in life, people. Like it's just have goals, and I finally found my calling, and that's coaching young men at the sport of wrestling at the college level. And you know, I'm loving it. I love this team. I love coaching, and hopefully someday I'm coaching at the Division I level, which I think is very doable and reasonable. So that is about all I have about myself. And I mean, I'll share some fun facts about me. Other than wrestling and coaching, Tyler and the viewers, I love heavy metal. Oh man, there's probably nothing I love more than metal music. Metallica, Five Finger Death Punch, Avenged Sevenfold, Disturbed, Korn, Slipknot, man. That's what makes me smile every day. Really hard rock music.
I mean, it was really Call of Duty and rock music that kind of like made us, like, you know, pretty much be friends. Like that was how we met.
Yeah, and like people always tell me, like just random people like that just met me, like, you know, that I don't seem like a heavy metal head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, there is something about it that just makes me so happy.
If you just like let out every emotion, like it can cover everything on the spectrum.
Yeah, so I have a sibling named Tony Recco, who just turned 23 in May, actually, and he fights amateur MMA, and I mean, he's a solid kid. He actually won states in wrestling the same year as me, so I won it in 2012 at 120 pounds. He won it at 99 pounds. And here is a funny story, and I will, like, it is just always stuck in my brain, Tyler. So Tony won at 99 pounds, right? So, like, me being like, feel the pressure a little bit.
Yeah.
Listen, I gotta win, or else my
like you see him win, and then you're just like, God dang it.
Yeah.
Pressure's on.
Yeah, I just felt the stress. I felt the pressure, right? So after I win, I was crying because just like I finally did it. And, you know, that's the best moment in my life. And I don't know if anything will even compare. That'll always be the best moment, right? So the first person that talks to me after the match is a guy sitting in the front row, right? His name was Sean Ellis Murphy. He was the father of a man named, Quentin Murphy, who was a 3 or 4 time New York State champion, tough as nails. He actually attended Indiana for a short bit, but so his dad, Sean Ellis, as soon as I walk off, he says to me, "How does it feel being the second state champ in the history of Lindenville?" And I thought it was the funniest thing ever because
that's pretty good right there.
yeah, and like that just sticks with me, like knowing like that was the first thing I heard. It was like, hey, how does it feel being the second state champ?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So that's a fun little story too. So yeah, both of us won states the same year. We both attended Edinburgh, and yeah, my life is going well right now. So I will hand it over to Tyler Shankles. That is enough about me. I talk a little too much, but that's why I'm a good podcast.
That painted a pretty clear picture of the man that I know as Sam Recco, just in full there. So a little bit about me. My name's Tyler Shankles. I'm 28. I recently relocated to Florence, Alabama from Mobile, Alabama, which I had relocated from Tennessee, from Georgia, from Alabama. I'm originally from Scottsboro. I was born in Shreveport, Louisiana at Barksdale Air Force Base because my dad was in the Air Force, and so my parents were staying there for a while, and then decided it was time to come back home to Scottsboro, where they're originally from. So moved back there. Grew up there. It's a fairly small town. I graduated with a little under 200 kids in my class, so just a tad bit bigger than Sammy here in his graduating class. But growing up, I fell in love with history, so that's what I got my degree in, and it kind of makes people laugh whenever they ask me like what I do, which is why I moved around so much. I'm actually in finance, so they're like, oh, what do you have a degree? Is that how you got this job? And if so, what's it in? And I say history, and they're like, history, and you're in finance? Like, yeah, it just so happened I got an opportunity while I was doing some of my grad work with the company I'm with, First Franklin, and they had a program to train in finance to be a manager, and I applied for it, not thinking I was going to get it. And then maybe a week or two after that, they sent me an email saying, hey, we'd love to have you over for an interview. Went to the interview, didn't think anything was going to happen off of that interview. I was like, oh, they're just being nice and getting everybody interviews and that kind of thing. And then about a week after that, they're like, so when can you start? Whenever. They're like, okay, so we're going to relocate you to Georgia. So that was kind of how all the moving around and stuff took place. But growing up, played pretty much every sport that had available in Scottsboro: baseball, football, soccer, basketball there for a little while. Eventually, by the time I got to high school, I pretty much quit everything else and just was focusing on wrestling. Really fell in love with it. Between my 7th and 8th grade year, me and one of my friends, we went to a camp at NC State, good old Bob Guzzo's camp, and it had Gable was there, and dude, it was awesome. Gable was there, Lee Kemp was there, Bobby Weaver was there. I can't remember. There was a Japanese Olympic champ that was there, and I will never forget. He was talking about hitting a blast double, and he was like, I'm gonna make this really simple for you guys. All right, you don't want to be a toy car, you want to be the big truck, and if you're gonna do a blast double, you gotta be the big truck and run over a toy car. And that was always stuck with me. And that camp, it was awesome because not only were we getting to see the high level technicians out there and coaches and everything, but just really getting a good idea of what a college looks like, because I'd never really been to see any colleges or anything before, and especially you're not you're kind of thinking about it, but it's not in the forefront of your brain where I want to go to college or what I want to do in 7th, 8th grade. But for me, that was kind of when it started. And NC State, ironically, was one of the schools I was looking at because I wanted to be a meteorology major. So yeah, I wanted to be a weatherman. That was gonna be the thing. I was gonna go chase tornadoes, and then that morphed into. I wanted to actually do the hurricane hunting. So it went from just tornadoes to we'll go straight to hurricanes, dog. We're gonna go hop in the plane, fly in, take some pictures of the eyes, study all that kind of stuff. And then I got tired of math, which is ironic now because I'm in finance. So I know enough to get me by, but when I was gonna have to go through stats and differential equations and all that upper level math, and I was just I'm burnt out on it. I'm not gonna go that route. So ended up getting a history major. But as far as sports go and everything, like I said, I eventually dropped all the other sports, just focused on wrestling, and when I first started out wrestling, so I started out wrestling, I think, third grade, second grade, somewhere in there, and I was not good. I literally won 2 matches my very first year. I won the first match that I wrestled. I lost like 30 something in a row, and then I won the very last match that season. And you ask my parents today, they're like, that first season, would you have thought that he would have, kept on going with it? They're like, no way. Just because I was just getting destroyed, and when you're that young, it's like you lose and then you cry like after every match. It's just every day match.
Like from preschool until about like third or fourth grade.
Yep.
Man.
This is like dang it. So I went like I said, like 2-31 that first season, and it was awful. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and progressively got better, built on my skills. I didn't really turn the corner to really understanding what I needed to do to be successful until probably between my freshman and sophomore year. So freshman year, I was wrestling at 135. I had a decent season. I think I won maybe like 30 matches. I was doing okay. I was filling in for varsity some here and there. And then that sophomore year was when it clicked. So sophomore year, won my first state title. I'm a 2-time state champ, 3-time state qualifier. So that sophomore year, the kid that I beat in the finals had beat me 3 times that season earlier, and it was like every time that we wrestled, it got just like a little bit closer. Like the first match, he didn't pin me, but he beat me, I think it was like 6-4, 6-5. And then the second time we wrestled, it was like 4-3, and then the one after that, it was something similar.
Wrestling the same kids over and over again.
It's like those little things.
Yeah, they start to figure out your style, and it just gets harder every time.
Yep. So then state finals comes around. Won my first match, won my second match, get to the finals, and like at this point we know what each other's gonna do. Like I know if I get on bottom, he's gonna go and try break me flat. He's gonna do a little arm bar, get my arm back, and then he's gonna put it on my back, and then he's gonna try to tilt me that way. I know that's gonna happen, and so my game plan was, hey, let's just not be on bottom, like because he's really good there, and I'm really good on top. So I'm a longer, lanky guy. I loved riding legs, even though my coach hated when I did it. He told me one time that if he ever saw me run legs again, he was gonna make me run until he puked, and that was enough for me to not want to do it there for a long time. But state finals comes around. I think it's like 2-2 or 2-1 at this point, something like that, and I sneak a leg in across, and he's trying to like pull it out and sit me on my hip. Well, I just reach over and just grab my own leg and just tilt him back with it, and then he's like, it was just crazy. And so then at the end of the match, I was like, I had the choice, the position to where I was trying to score again because I was close, and he limps arm out, and literally as time ticks out, he gets one swipe, and then it was gone because I was in just a terrible position after he limped arm, and he was mad, his coach was mad. I was just like, I gotta hurry up and shake his hand, get off the mat. That way, everything's in the books. There's no challenges or anything, and yeah, it was crazy, and I mean, really that season, like I was like, boom, I can do this. I can be pretty good at this. Next season, went out. I pretty much dominated everybody in state. We went to some out of state tournaments and had some out-of-state teams come in that were really freaking tough. One tournament held at Vestavia Hills in Birmingham. They brought in they brought in everybody. They had like Brandon, Florida came in back when they had the streak going. Dude, that they freaking destroyed everybody. It was insane. So they were there. Mount Anthony Union out of Vermont was down. Freaking Shawnee, Oklahoma came in. I remember I wrestled this kid named Jacob Short. I want to say he was like a 3-time Oklahoma champ. I have never been as embarrassed of a performance of mine as what he did to me that match. It was bad. But dude, there was just hammers everywhere, and our team was very competitive. We won. We ended up winning 4 state titles in a row as a team. Yeah, we did. At one point, I want to say we had like 5 or 6 champs in a row in the finals. Like, we won them all. It was insane. Like, we had, I think, set the record for the total points scored by a team in the state like that year. It was insane. Couple of my friends ended up being like 5-timers that they were twin brothers. They went on to wrestle at Utah Valley, and like their older brother, their whole family has like 25 combined state titles for Alabama, like wrestling and stuff. It was crazy.
Utah Valley, is that where that Bang car?
Yep.
It wrestled, right?
Yep.
That car?
Yep.
But like it was spelled, you were like KJ.
Yeah, that's him. So Kyle and Chase Cupperson, that they went out and wrestled there. Their older brother Michael, he wrestled up at Boise State. So big wrestling family. So that, being in the practice room with them, they kept everything, kind of focused on like what we needed to be. They would help out with technique. They loved. I mean, even though they were like way bigger than me, I was wrestling 119 at this point, and they're like 152, 165, 171, and everything. Like just rolling around with them, like learning like little like technique things. Especially Chase. Like Chase helped me out a bunch, just scrambling around in the practice room, just getting in weird, funky positions. Because that was my style. I love scrambling, and like watching Ben Askren, like Ben Askren's style. Like when he was in college coming through, that was the style that I was trying to emulate really. And so like those little techniques and things that he was doing, just from like draping over somebody on their shot and picking up an ankle, going into a funk roll from it and coming out and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of influenced my style. So ended up, pinning straight through in the finals, pinning the kid in the finals my junior year in under 2 minutes. It was like minute something.
Just like Eric is, right? Eric is senior year, like pinned the kid like in 15 seconds.
Yeah, and he always holds that over me because at this point, like the division I was in was 5A, and there's only 3 matches. You only had to win 3 matches to win a state title. Well, then he goes up and he has to win 4. So he's like, yeah, I pinned 4 kids in a faster amount of time than you. I'm like, dude, whatever. Like, whatever. So I ended up winning most pins in least amount of time that year. And then senior year, ended up getting a appointment to the Coast Guard Academy. And I had gotten hurt during preseason. I went to Super 32. I ended up going 2-2, but I was wrestling who was that? He's from New York.
Oh, from good old New York.
Yep. Aruja. Nick Aruja.
Oh, wait. So, is he a brothers with Guido?
Yeah, it's his older brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was wrestling him, and it was fairly close to start out with, and then it gets to the second period, and either he chose top or I chose bottom or something, and I go to like hit a switch on him, and when I went to hit the switch, like my arm just got stuck in some like weird position, so I tore like all the ligaments in my elbow here, like I was pretty much done after that.
Happened a few times on a couple switches.
It was like I was like, are you kidding me? Like I haven't even started the season yet. This is preseason, like preseason tourney, and my season could be over. Like I don't even know if I'm going to get to keep wrestling or not. But I had so much adrenaline going that I finished that match. It was hurting pretty good. Won the next match, and then lost the one after that. So I ended up going 2-2. Ended up wrestling with a big ass brace on my elbow all year, which kind of came in handy sometimes because then I'd like could use the edge, like catch somebody with a crossface with it. But yeah. So then right before like our sectional tournament, I had some problems with my knee, and I've always had bad knees, like just from wear and tear on them through the years. I had some problems with my knee, and it was like swelling up and everything, and I was unsure whether I was even going to be able to wrestle on it. But I mean, the team was pretty stacked at that point, so I figured, all right, I'll just push through it. You know, I should be able to go through pretty easily, but I don't know. I don't know how much it's going to hinder my performance. We're going to go for it anyway. Get the sectionals. I ended up dropping a match to a kid who was really tough, Cade Kitchens. He ended up, I think he wrestled NAI, I think. He was like a 2 or 3 time NAI qualifier, 1 or 2 time All-American, I think, something like that. Really tough, but ended up messing up my knee more. Basically was unable to really do much with it after that. Oh, bless you. And then dropped that match to him. I remember the freaking crowd just went crazy just because the way he caught me, and he ended up pinning me because I couldn't move, and so he stuck me. Dropped that match, won the next one, qualified for state, and then I went to the doctor just because like it was huge. Like after that, the doctor's like, you don't need to wrestle. Like you can if you want, but I highly advise you not to, because if you do, it's gonna mess it up. So I had already accepted my appointment to the Coast Guard Academy at this point, and I'm like, okay, well, if I want to be able to wrestle in college, I need to have a knee. I don't need to be sitting on the bench, and so I ended up not being able to wrestle the state tournament at my senior year. So that was definitely a setback. And then going into the academy, I don't know if I had fully recovered from the injury, and also just like all the mental stuff going on at that point. Like, man, senior year, like season's over. My knee's busted. My arm's been messed up. I thought that was going to be it, but that wasn't it. And my whole senior year, just all that work was for nothing. And then we get to the academy, and probably within like the first month or so, boom, another injury straight to the same knee.
Yeah.
So I'm on crutches and stuff, hobbling around up in Connecticut at the Coast Guard Academy, which it's got tons of hills and everything. Beautiful campus. I love the campus. I love how small it felt. It felt like a family. But just another setback. And then you're like, okay, I'm working towards this. I went through the PT and stuff, and then, of course, what happens? Another setback. I'm up there. I slip, I fall, I get a nasty concussion. I hit my head against like just freaking straight up brick wall.
Really?
Yeah, dude, it was bad. So I'm up there, and I was in their like medical part for like 2 weeks because like vision was blurry. Like my balance was off and everything, and so eventually it gets to the point where they're like, okay, you've missed so much time now that you've got a couple options here. You can come back next year, go home, come back after you recovered and everything, or we can just discharge you and everything, and you can go to any other school that you want. So, if I had chose to come back, I was gonna have to start all the way over again, like through the process, and I was just like, I can't put off getting my education and getting a job at this point. Like, I need to do that. So I ended up discharging out, came back home. I went to University of Alabama in Huntsville for a semester, made a bunch of friends there, but that itch to wrestle, it doesn't go away. Like, once you compete, it's just there. So I started that spring semester, started looking for ways to get back into it. Started working out, started coaching at youth leagues and high schools and everywhere I could, until finally got in touch with the coach up at Cumberland University in Tennessee with NAI program, and so
I've seen at tournaments.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I know that they're at quite a few places that Lincoln goes to. So,
Yeah.
I emailed Coach Simcoe and Coach Swint and was just like, hey, these are my credentials and everything. I know I can still compete. I've been, training for it. I'm fully healthy again and everything. Got to give me a shot. Just at least give me a tryout, something. Just walk on. And me and my mom drove up there like one Saturday. Got up there, toured the campus. Loved the campus. Super small, private school.
It's like very hilly, right? Like
Yeah.
Mountains.
Yeah.
I've never been there, but I always wanted to.
Yeah, so literally, the Cumberland's campus, which they've expanded out now, but while I was there, really before they started doing the expansion, it kind of just fit like on 1 square mile block. Like, here was like the main Memorial Hall, and then you had like your cafeteria and a girls' dorm, and then a co-ed dorm, and then they built a new dining hall or a new dorm here, and then there was like one more building, and then baseball field, and then football field was across town. And it was just so small, but it fit. Like, it felt like Scottsboro. It felt like home. And so, like, instantly fell in love with it. Went into that tryout, and at this point, like, I wasn't in wrestling shape. Now, I was in running shape and everything, but I was not in wrestling shape. So I was like, oh man, I hope we're not going to take too much stock into this, because like, I haven't been on the mat that much. And luckily I went out there, and I was doing pretty well. I pretty sure that the guy I was drilling with was like a 2 or 3 time NAI qualifier. Was like 1 match away from placing at nationals once or twice. He was really good, and I was doing really good with him. Man, I thought my slide by was good, but he was shorter than me, and I had long arms, so it was like when he would hit his on mine, like, dude, there was just like no way I could get by it. So like, I got to wherever I wrestle him, I keep like one arm like really short, like just so I can just like post up over on him. But yeah, I was doing really good, and they had me go grab a shower, said, hey, come back to the coach's office after you get done, we want to talk to you about everything. Went back in there, and they offered me on the spot that day. They said, we love your technique, you got a good work ethic, looks like, and we'd love to have you here. We need you in that role, because what we've got there is graduating out this year. We don't have anybody undergraduate to get there. So ended up transferring from UAH to Cumberland. Was up there for a while, got my degree in history. After that, came back to Muscle Shoals, which is where my family was living at the time. My dad had taken a job over here, and my mom.
Muscle Shoals, man, I just love the name of that town for some reason. Every time Eric said, I was like, that cannot be a real name.
Muscle Shoals, they're pretty famous over here. You got Fame Recording Studios, freaking Leonard Skinner writing about the Shoals in their songs and stuff. So it's a nice area. You ever get a chance to go here, you got to go. It's, I mean, the people here are awesome. Great scenery. It's right on the water. You know, you can't beat it. It's pretty good. It's gonna it's a good time. So I moved over there, started helping out, and actually was able to help out with the Muscle Shoals High School while Eric and Brent were going there. So I'd go in after work and just drop into the room and just try to just beat the crap out of them just every day, just try to make them better. And so for me, you were saying how, you know, for you, your most memorable moment is, you know, winning yours. That actually was mine until I had the opportunity to be able to coach them in their finals matches and watching them win. And I mean, that it was something else. It was like,
it's always a good feeling, and you know, I'm gonna say this before I forget. Coaching somebody and seeing their success, having spent so much time with them, so much effort with them, it honestly feels a little better than winning, like, you know, yourself in a way. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's like you've invested.
I just like seeing people that I've spent time with win.
Yeah,
So,
that was like my big thing was like I've seen all the work that you've put in up until this point for the years and years and years, you know, been with you in the practice room. I've seen you win lots of matches. I've seen you lose lots of matches, and to see it just like pay off, and not only like be able to coach them, but I mean they're wrestling back-to-back weight classes. I didn't have to move from the freaking chair. It was like, all right, one wins, and then they got the other one up here, and I mean it was just a freaking roller coaster because like, you know, Eric's last year, he won his, and then Brennan gets out there, and he's right there. You know, he's so close to being able to win it, and he ends up coming up just short, and it's like, dang it, man, you were that close, like, you know. But it's just something different about being able to coach somebody and seeing, you know, that investment in them just pay off in the end.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I was asked this last week. Somebody asked me, like, you know, kind of like a campfire, like a little outdoor party campfire activity like this. A person asked me, he said, what makes you a good coach? And I thought about that. I really did. So what makes me a good coach? I was like, you know what? Because it's bigger than just the sport I'm coaching. I am trying to train and help these people grow into not only a great wrestler, which is obviously awesome, but a great person.
Yep.
And I have told my team this, Tyler, that I would rather have a full team of people that are nice off the mat and do all the right things and never win than 10 national champs, but they're dicks off the mat, and they are mean, nasty people off the mat.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, what matters the most? Being nice and being kind. And I will share that every once in a while and like kind of preach that.
Yep. I mean, it's one of those things, you know, like you only have an allotment of X amount of time to wrestle, but you have all this other time off the mat where you're not wrestling, where if you're not doing the right things and being, you know, an upstanding, you know, just good person, it can affect you like in a pretty significant way.
At a point of time in my life, like I kind of had that mindset of listen, wrestling's life, and there's nothing else. And I quickly learned that is not true.
Yeah, there's so much more out there.
Just like a quarter of a century of my life. Like, okay, the first 20, 25 years or so, sometimes 30, like for Jordan Burroughs or Kyle David Taylor kind of guy. But yeah, like, you know, because I had it hard on myself. Like, you know, I was, after I didn't really accomplish what I had set to in my college career, I was very sad. I was kind of lost in a sense to where I felt people were mad at me, and I was definitely mad at myself.
Yeah.
I felt like my dad, my mom, my brother, and my coaches that had me come there were just, you know, disappointed.
Yep.
In a a way because it had such high expectations.
Yep.
And so this pastor comes in and talks to our team at Lincoln every Wednesday, right? Every Wednesday, and he's actually from FCA Wrestling.
Oh,
he's
cool.
an awesome guy, and like knows all the big name athletes,
Yeah.
like even Andre, the basketball guy, Iguodala.
Yeah.
Like he like knows Andre Iguodala, like it's crazy. But this one Wednesday, Tyler, he came in and he said this quote, and it sticks with me still to this day. And he said, oh man, now I forget. Hold on, wrestling. Hold on, think about something to say. It'll come to me.
I say you're gonna get it, but it's like you're saying, you know, you're gonna say you live to be 100. Most wrestlers, you only wrestle until you're 25, 30, maybe a little longer. But you got all these other years where it's like, okay, if wrestling is life, well, what about all these other years where you're not being able to wrestle? So I mean, it's more than that, you know. So, you know, being a good person, doing the right things, getting invested in your community and in others, and just doing everything that you can to just make other people happy, you know, and make yourself happy, and you know, like, don't get stuck in your ways and think that it's inescapable, because you can overcome anything. You just got to work towards it, and I think that's one of the best things in wrestling that it teaches. Like, in life, you're gonna face adversity, and it's how you respond to the adversity that ends up defining you. So if you know, you always hear about, oh, that dude's a quitter and such and stuff like that. Well, if you don't want to be labeled a quitter, then don't quit, because you can never lose if you never quit. You only learn, and I think that's where a lot of people, you know, things get hard, they quit, and it becomes easier to quit every time after that. You know, it's just like, oh man, it didn't go my way. That's all right. Screw it. I'll do something else. Stick with it, you know, and see it through. And hey, if it doesn't go your way, like you don't get the result you want, that's fine.
Hey,
but learn from it.
If it go that way, man, you just follow a different path.
Exactly.
And drive towards that.
Like there's
That took me a while to realize, really.
There's always a choice there, and there's always going to be an opportunity. You may not realize it at first, but there's always something there that you can take from that experience. And I think that's where a lot of people, it takes them a while to see it, but then they're like, once it clicks, they're like, oh, well, I can just go do this then. It's like, exactly. You learned from your experience and from the loss or whatever.
And,
you know.
Back on the quote I was trying to think of, I had to search on my Facebook quick, and I can't believe I forgot it. But you know, just talking and doing this podcast and just so many things.
So many things.
Yeah. So this is my favorite quote of all time. So you know, this pastor came in and he said this, and it's so simple, but it literally spoke volumes to me. Just for so long, I was so guilty and never really accomplishing stuff. And he said, failure in wrestling does not mean failure in life. And I thought
Bingo.
As soon as that pastor said that, or chaplain, I guess in a sense, I don't really know, but so that I like kind of turned it around and said, failure in athletics does not mean failure in life. And I mean, that can really, you know, relate to anybody that thought that they were going to be great, it didn't pan out, move on. Because so I stopped wrestling in 2017, so it took me until nearly 2020 to digest and to like have it sit well with me that failure in wrestling does not mean that I'm a failure in life.
Yep.
Because let's face it, I am not a failure in life. I'm doing all the right things. I'm coaching out of college. I'm inspiring others with this podcast. And for some reason, as soon as I heard that chaplain say that, yes, I like just a giant weight lifted off my shoulders, because for 3 or so years I felt like I was a nobody.
Yep.
And it fucked with me mentally. Like it just made me sad, depressed, and like just have some anxiety and just not feeling me. And I know that I'm a positive, outgoing guy, but deep down during that time, I
Oh
just
yeah,
felt
and
like,
it's
man,
it's easy to fall into that, you know. It's and somebody and I can't remember like if somebody told it to me, I read it somewhere, but it's basically boils down to you are what you let define you. If you want that loss to be like what defines you, that's your choice because you can choose to either let that be the thing that sits on you and weighs heavy on you and that's all people are going to know you for, or that's all you think that people know you for.
yeah,
But if you go out and you're doing things and you're being outgoing and looking at the positive just being positive, it's going to totally just drown out all that negative aspect. And I think everybody has that period of self-doubt, especially after a loss where you're just like, it's like, man, what's going on? Like, why, one, you're like, man, like, why didn't I do this or that? You're critiquing like the small things, and then it goes into, well, heck, I just suck overall. Like, people only gonna know me because this is the last thing they saw of me, and they don't really know me, and that just weighs on you. And then you're like, oh, I let this person down, and I let that person down, and they invested all this money and this time and all that kind of stuff, and it just like and you're just like, dude, like, I don't even know what to do anymore. You're like, you don't want to get out of bed. You lose your appetite, or you have the opposite, and you just have an over appetite. And you're just eating all the time, and you don't want to get out and exercise. You don't want to take a freaking shower. Like, you just don't want to take care of yourself.
Same thing happened to me, like in college. I kind of felt that way, and I didn't feel like exercising. I didn't feel like practicing. I just felt like nothing. Like I felt
Yep.
like, hey,
You're like, oh, I'm here.
yeah,
I'm here. Yeah, and it's
I'm just here, and I'm just a body. I'm not meant to do anything great, and I felt sorry for myself, and that was the first
yep.
in a way. But hey, I am where I should be today, and so are you. And
Yep.
I mean, it's a great day to start the podcast. And going back to something, I think the hardest thing for me to accept now is that I'm like no longer competing and like in athletics, because I am such a competitive guy and I love winning.
Yep.
And it's hard for like not when I'm playing a summer baseball game or like a wrestling match or like so nowadays I like kind of transform that into like cornhole. Or
Oh
like
yeah, dude.
family.
It's like I'm the same way. It's like any competition. If I'm showing up to win. Like, I gotta play to win. Like Mario Kart, Uno, Settlers of Catan. I don't care what it is.
I love Settlers of Catan. Ever since Tony showed me that game, man, I was like, this is some corny nerd stuff. And I was like, God damn. Like,
Dude, like the first game, like when I went home a couple weekends ago and they had it, and I was like, all right, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but I can tell that this is gonna be fun. And then like 2 or 3 games later, I'm winning, and I'm like,
and you're like, man, I need some wheat, or I need some.
Exactly, I gotta give me the bricks, man. Give me your bricks.
Yeah, that's a great game. But,
Love that game.
Yeah, man, I always am trying to win. I just hate losing so much, and I think that's like I just miss sports.
Yep.
So hey, the like next best thing is coaching them, right?
Yep.
So that is what I'm doing. I'm happy to be doing that. So yeah.
Well, I think that's pretty much about it on my backstory. I think I might have went a little bit longer than Sammy here on everything, but
Hey, it's worth it.
it's like once you get me talking, it's kind of hard to get me to shut up sometimes. So
I think that's why me and you are both good co-hosts back and forth, because I mean you kind of have the same background, kind of have the same goals, kind of have the same mindset on many things. And
Yep.
I think that's why this podcast can and will be great.
Yep.
And I guess I will end with this. So that same guy that asked me what makes me a good coach, he also asked me what makes your podcast different last week at the campfire. And I thought of that too. And I think I will end by saying this, that what makes this podcast different? What makes this right here podcast different? And I think because there isn't many inspirational people out there that aren't famous. I guess in a sense, like not the David Goggins or the LeBron Jameses, like just us regular, but like not really regular people, but people that just don't have their big names out
Yeah.
there. So I think what makes this podcast different is that two regular people are just going out and trying to inspire others and like have others set goals, strive to be great, and like just hear it from two people that have been there, have struggled with mental health, have struggled not reaching their expectations and goals in life, but have found a different path to positively affect others.
Yep.
And I think people have to hear it from others that have been there. And listen, I have been there because honestly, my stutter hasn't been bad at all over this podcast. But
I hadn't even noticed it. I feel like
because the confidence level.
Yeah.
If I have confidence and I'm speaking on something that I know, I'm good with it. But dude, I was bullied bad in high school, and I really wanted to mention this. And I swear to God, it's a true story. My friend from high school called me last week, Tyler, and he told me, "Listen, I'm sorry for picking on you in your stutter in high school." And it was literally that moment in the movie. Is it Billy Madison?
Yeah.
How he calls and like,
Yeah.
sorry. It was literally that moment.
Glad I called that guy.
I wasn't on the list. And then, hey, listen, I crossed his name off the note. I'm just kidding. But I swear to God, it was an awesome phone call. I talked to him for 10 minutes, and he said to me, "Man, I am so sorry because kids are cruel." And I accepted it. I forgave him because listen, at the end of the day, man, kids are kids, and he was very cruel to me, very mean, but hey, it is what it is. I forgave him.
Yeah.
I was bullied bad for my stuttering, and then even in college sometimes, like I had fear, and like I couldn't even talk to my college professors, my parents, my teammates, my coaches. Like I lived in fear.
Yeah.
I still have that, like talking to pretty girls now, but I overcame.
Same here.
I'm here right
It's a
now,
confidence thing.
And I guess simply put, Tyler, I am doing this podcast to just inspire. And I couldn't think of a better co-host than you, and I'm happy to be doing this. And our first guest is Friday.
Ready to get him on here, man. It's gonna be dope.
God, this has been a great first episode, and I really think that it was very informational, very positive, very outgoing. And I think this will be a hit. So, your final words, your final message is what?
I mean, I would agree with everything that you were saying there. I think that that this will be very, very good because, we just seem like two just normal people. Just talking about all these different issues and just inspiring people and motivating people, and we share similar backgrounds and everything, and I think we're relatable in that way, and I'm just I'm glad that we got this thing going. I'm glad that we're building this platform. Like I think it's gonna take off, and dude, I'm ready for next episode already. I'm ready to get Ryan on here, and let's talk a little bit about some baseball and stuff.
Yeah, and each new year, I always tell myself that I'm gonna do something new, and quite frankly, I don't ever do it. So my goal for 2020 was to start a podcast, and hey, it's here.
Here we go.
I'm excited.
It's gonna be a blast, dude. It's gonna go by so fast, but I'm ready. I'm ready. We got a bunch of big names lined up, ready to knock those out of the park. Add some more here along the way, and just see what happens.
I'm excited. That should be good. But yeah, hey, you are gonna want to tune in
Right here.